I think the backstory is that Lacey and I lost our home to wildfire in 2017 in Northern California. And at that point, we really started getting into contribution work. And it really started with us cooking for homeless folks and people that were unhoused in Santa Rosa, California. And then fast forward to here, when this situation came up, we immediately sort of stepped into culinary action. And I think we made around 50 gallons of beef stew and started running it around to all the volunteer fire departments as far into the mountains as we could access. There was a lot of support going to the first responder centers and schools and shelters. And then we found that the pocket was the volunteer fire departments. That was week one. At the tail end of that, I gave a ride to a few people that were out on the Nolichucky Gorge campground. We've done a lot of events with USA Raft. That's very much our extended family in this area. They supported our business from the beginning. And so when I saw them, I said, "What are you guys doing here?" And they said, "Well, we're still out on the property in Nolichucky Gorge." And I said, "Well, I can offer you a ride back as close as I can get in." And I did that. And as I was dropping them off at the church, I ran into a gal named Emily Rowe, and she said, "Risin Vibes Kitchen, Brandon, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "I need to connect you with my friend who's here with a nonprofit group, and they're looking for quality food trucks to service the remote areas." The next day I got a call from World Central Kitchen, and they said, "We'd love to talk to you about becoming a restaurant partner." So we came to a good agreement. We were in a good place to make the initial financial investment and ingredients, and we were already doing it anyways. And their mission is to get food to disaster-stricken and war-stricken zones of the world, and we wanted to be a part of it. And they created a great win-win with restaurant partners, helping carry the financial end of it, and we get to get out and serve the direct community that's affected.
I started delivering with the kiddos in the van before we teamed up with WCK, and I was driving down to Asheville and the surrounding Asheville areas, and it was very in alignment because about 1 week into that, WCK reached out to Brandon, and that's when we were able to start really servicing the East Tennessee area and making sure that Western North Carolina was getting coverage because there was such a great need there.
It was really cool to see how World Central Kitchen really came together to alleviate a lot of the state line issue in this region, because there's hundreds of roads here where you don't even know you're crossing into a new state. It's one community, and so they said, "We know you've been wanting to get into Western North Carolina. We've got a place for you." So we've been in Poplar, which is just east of Irwin, and in a mountainous area between Poplar and Pigeon Roost. And we've been servicing 250 to 400 meals a day out there to everybody from houseless people to linemen to first responders, volunteers, anybody that's been affected by this in the direct community gets to come and eat for free and nourish themselves and their families.
And I feel like WCK has done a really great job of, we know so many people in the community that know of more people who are in need, and so they've done a really great job of connecting with other people to make sure that everybody's getting reached in the very remote hollers and small nooks and areas where there's a great need. I think the biggest compliment I've heard and gratitude is around, like you said, a warm meal. Like I went to a school and they were shouting, "Hot food, yes, hot food!" And it was cool. There were kids and people were just so grateful to have a warm meal. I did one run out to West Jefferson, North Carolina, and they had pulled, I think they said 200 kids from surrounding areas that hadn't had a meal in 2 weeks, a hot meal in 2 weeks. They brought them into the church, and so we took the food there and delivered it to the church and fed 200 children who hadn't had a warm meal in 2 weeks. So it's really far-reaching, and I think that one thing that we're finding as we, especially with our team, because we know so many people, again, that know more people, is there's people that haven't been reached yet. And so we're not done, you know, it's like we get to keep going, we get to kind of keep making our way further into these places that haven't been reached yet, while continuing to serve those who we have been serving, who are in gratitude, and who are worthy of being fed a hot meal.